mate. Welcome to another edition of XFeed. My name is The Schiller. A lot of stuff that happened over the weekend, so let's just jump straight into it. If you end up liking this video, would love to score your like. CCN, not to be confused with CNN, says, what are NFT profile pictures on social media? Okay, that would tell me that the market is El Dedzo again. Just doing a quick little Google of NFT and Web3, see if there's any notable news headlines. Bitcoin.com NFT sales hit 95 million. Okay. With Ethereum dominating, but market participation shrinks. Very interesting. And then, of course, the news about Immutable's negative marketplace getting shut down for the builders and pushing traffic over there, but we already knew that. BitGet concludes first COO apprenticeship program nurturing the next generation of Web3 innovators. Okay, again, very exciting. Robo Naldo outfoxing human soccer dominance by combining Web3, AI, and robotics. See, that's something I got to jump into because maybe this is like the AI league. If you've played the mobile game from Futureverse, which, guys, if you're wanting to get like an all-star, which is like the top 10 where you get like a couple of interesting collectibles, it's not NFTs, at least not, well, it is NFTs, but you can't take it off that platform yet. Could be useful, could not. It doesn't look that phenomenal or anything, but if you wanted to get in like the top 10, you only need to play like less than 2 hours of gameplay on it. So there's your tidbit on it. Pop Wonder, do you remember some of the artists from way back in the bull run that were, recognized by all, but not necessarily going to insane heights? Pop Wonder was one of those, and I always thought the style of Pop Wonder was really, really cool. There's a little bit of a sandcastle and some different characters of their creation hanging out on the beach. Just thought I'd share that with you. And then jumping over to Super Rare, I was going to show you some things that were on here, but of course, not allowed to show it on stream. First friggin' thing you look at Super Rare, holy smokes. Anyway, trending artists, we got upwards in the last 7 days. Hackatow at 33,000 sold. Elanderek, 20,000 top purchasers. Wow, unknown 33K, Blue Poles 20,000, got $1,000, 9,000, 6,000. People are still spending quite an ordeal on these expensive digital pieces. Now, going over to ApeCoin again, we're covering like almost every single different ecosystem. Over the weekend, there was a ton of announcements and just things in general that I saved, but this one from ApeCoin, excited for our ApeCoin Italian racing experience August 30th. So ApeCoin is sponsoring some Formula One, from my understanding, with this, except it's an experience. So what exactly does that mean? Available to ApeCoin community members. See full details in ApeCoin members only token proof. Okay, so we can't even see. A snapshot of ApeCoin holders with a minimum of 1 ape in their wallet has been taken. Check if your wallet is eligible for the Italian racing experience here. Feature snapshots are there, and this is in Monzo, wherever the hell that is. Either way, I wish there was like any sort of info that you could read as like an outsider on this stuff. Why is the gate kept in such an extreme way? And good morning, Harry Swan. Mark your calendar, says NBA Top Shot. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, they're doing a special limited edition event where you are able to chat and trade directly on the Top Shot platform. Now, one might say, well, that's weird. How the hell has that not been implemented yet? And, well, listen, 2024, guys. We're getting there. Blockchain technology. Kind of insane that it's taken that long to be able to implement kind of a chat function, do direct trades. So far, you've only been able to send directly to people to do a trade. So it's been massively on the trust scale. I don't know. Trying to think back to some of the earlier days of Top Shot, I don't know if there was many issues with trust trades. I'd imagine here and there, but I don't think I ever had any issue myself. Huzzah, showcasing some stuff from Doodles. I didn't realize that when you open that image, you were going to be unable to see it, but showing all the different components where they have Adidas shoes to suit jackets, which are like in the metaverse, I guess we'll call it, for lack of a better term, or just the digital wearables, sandals, all the other thing Adidas branded. Again, we're going to see more and more brands try to launch something within the metaverse, and I think it's going to be cheaper for them. It can scale quicker, and they're going to make a bag out of it. So expect all the brands to be rushing into the space when possible. And of course, Nike acquiring Artifact and their Dunk Genesis Ghost colorway, says Nana. They got it in the mail, just showing it off here. Does actually look pretty slick, not going to lie. Not too shabby. I'm not sure how much these ended up costing from buying, but cool to see, again, or more major brands doing some fun stuff. Okay, so you guys remember Drake and Josh, old TV show? So Drake Bell one day followed me, and I was like, wow, that's weird. Like, part of me is like, yo, that's really cool because I used to watch that show as a kid. And then you look at his page, and it's literally just showing meme coins and random stuff and the same like Drake and Josh logo, whether it's Drake X Fwog, Drake X some other random animal, all these different contract addresses getting shared all the time. I don't know if these celebrities are completely out of money. I don't know if they're just like, hey, we can take advantage of these things. It's just, I don't know. It feels super weird that that is happening so much. It feels like, to be honest, over the last few days, apart from the Scottie Pippen and obviously the Drake thing that we just mentioned, it doesn't seem as aggressive. There was a spurt like a month ago where it felt like literally everybody was doing something, and I'm not sure why they went away. Maybe there was a whole bunch of threats and they got cold feet. I don't know. Weird that they pop out and then they're like, never mind, goodbye forever. Frank from The Gods here with a very interesting post that is probably relevant to you if you've been in any NFT community. The most dangerous people for any internet community are people that flip from being big fans to unrelenting haters. They thrive on being contrarian. They're always too cool for school. They get a dopamine from building a C-tier mini cult of hate instead of supporting the S-tier existing community. And then he talks about like, just can those people if it happens. And listen, it's happened in every single collection that I've seen. People go all in on something, and then if it doesn't work, it turns into just an absolute fiesta of hate. Where'd the love go? You know what I mean? Whale.swoosh having a very interesting post here, just highlighting the market cap of the base collections. And so Bored Ape Yacht Club at 251 mil, Pudgy Penguins 192. I believe this is Remilio at 105 million, and then Azuki at 101 million. Now, what's kind of crazy about this is when you look at the majority of crypto tokens, I've been of the thought, personally, that anything that usually is literally anything is about 100 mil market cap within the crypto space. And so seeing the NFT collections at where they are, obviously we make the arguments of, well, hold on, are you actually getting any sort of value from these certain NFTs beyond the fact that if it's art, you like it, etc., etc., the historical aspects, we can create all these narratives. But it is, dare I say, looking mispriced potentially for these collections if they continue to do stuff for, well, basically the rest of eternity, right? Because it's also the aspect of we view things from the lens of, okay, what's happened within the past 3 to 4 years, more so than thinking beyond that, because we really don't know. And of course, when we minted Bored Apes, and I have the video up if you guys want to watch that on my YouTube channel, where we minted the one that actually caused the reveal, which was kind of cool. But we had no idea at the time this was going to be anything. There's another video, if you scroll back and you filter through like my oldest, we actually had like a round table where we had discussions where we were like, this does feel kind of special. And looking back, I feel like you can like try to word it as, those guys are like trying to highlight what they're holding on to or whatever. But legitimately, at the time, we had no idea. We were just all together. It felt like, a whole new group of friends connecting, and it was, it was good vibes. And obviously then it went crazy beyond that. Okay, Mon Protocol announcing a little bit Domination, not to be confused with Call of Duty Domination. Developed by Blackmouth Games, Domination game is a free-to-play third-person shooter on Unreal Engine 5, setting a new standard for prime-to-play games in the Web3 ecosystem with 12 minutes per match with refresh and dynamic game modes through domes. What the hell is prime to play? Now, Mon is a part of Pixelmon, if you're familiar with that. I've listened to an interview with one of the founders, shout out Mango Larga, for suggesting that, and it was, to be honest, it was a really, really good founder interview, so it's definitely kind of perked up my ears a little bit to watching more of what's going on with Mon, Pixelmon, yada, yada, yada. But again, we're talking about catalysts of things, right? And so this sounds like another game that's coming. We know the tokens involved. Where are the stimulus? Michael Lazaro, who I believe is an investor within Pixel Vault, was down at VCon, which we'll get a little bit more into VCon here in a momentaro, but they were giving out a special edition or auctioning, I should say, of the first ever Punks comic signed by Chris Wall, the artist. Awesome. G-Funk, awesome. And then he went and got a signature by Gary Vee for this. And I'm like, Gary Vee is like not involved in this in any sort of way unless he was an investor in something. But it's funny because they're at VCon, and so they're like, yo, we got to auction off this comic book. Obviously, there's going to be people there that like know who Pixel Vault is, right? Like, it's not going to be like, oh yeah, nobody knows at all at the event. But I feel like the majority of people probably wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm going to go like auction on like a comic that I'm not super familiar with. But if we get Gary Vee's signature, listen, all the people who love Gary Vee, we're going to do great. We got a Pudgy Penguin selling for 25 ETH, $65,000. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for takeoff. Not bad, not bad. Okay, I'm not watching the video, but this is regarding Illuvium. And they say step-by-step video walkthrough of transferring your land from IMX Passport, Immutable X Passport, to another wallet without losing your shit. And it's so terrifying to think of the fact that we are still at a point where we have this new technology. We say we're going to bring in the mass adoption. People are going to be paying attention to it, yada, yada, yada. But we still have these components to it. Now, this isn't the only ecosystem by any means. Also, that's wild. The Ask Gronk thing popped up. Never seen that before. For anybody that doesn't know, that's like X's AI, kind of like ChatGPT. It's cool. But I mean, we got to have better things where you don't need to make a guide to make sure that people don't lose their stuff. Because if that's a possibility, well, people and doing that. This is a pretty crazy take. So I hope you're sitting down. From Camel, if I was a crypto whale, I'd deploy almost all of my capital into NFTs. Why? Crypto has piqued the interest of some of the top minds, creators, innovators, leaders, and brands in the world. Where do most of them land to build NFTs? It's that simple for me. So the question with all of this is, what is the purpose of the NFT? Is it going to be used all the time? Is there potentially some sort of yield that's associated from holding on to that NFT over time? Is there nothing associated with it and it's just simply good vibes, art, etc., etc.? Because when we look back, and I'll use Azuki as an example here because it's the only thing I can think of off the top of my mind, I thought the beans were cool. And for anybody that doesn't know what beans are, let me try to bring it up for a second, but it was one of the collections that was from Azuki after they launched the, I spelled brands, I want beans. Oh my goodness. They came out, and this was like their companion collection, because we pretty much saw everybody that wanted to do companion collections. And right now they're at 0.17 ETH, and for the conversion, that's like $500. Yeah, imagine you're watching here and you want to blow $500 on a bean. Anyway, the floor price of these things at a point was like 2 ETH, and it was the only other collection for, I guess I should correct myself and say it was around 1.5-ish ETH for the most part. And then you can see there's this huge drop off, right? So it goes from 1.3 down to basically 0.3, and it's, about half of that as of right now. And the reason is because they decided to launch something called Elementals. And this suddenly became Azuki's second tier collection. This was a paid mint after the beans. Looks very similar to Azuki if you're familiar with that collection. But to Camel's point of like, I would put my capital in NFTs. Well, let's say you're like, okay, I really like Azuki, and I think that the beans IP and what they're going to be building is going to be phenomenal. And then all of a sudden, the head collection company, whatever, decides, we're going to change our mind and do something else. So I feel inherently there's a massive risk with these NFTs where even for the tokens or the coins that come out, sometimes you'll have a coin that launches, and I'll use Pixel Vault as an example for this, for their POW token and the punks, right? So they had POW, which was for their game, and then they had punks, which was like a fractionalized crypto punk from the vault of the IP that they use for all of their crypto punks. And so if you had like enough of them, you could redeem, but I don't know if that ever officially got integrated. But the point being is those tokens then are now being burned for the new GG token. So it's always included no matter what, where you don't have a tier, like a problem of it being knocked down. Usually the teams are always aware of any sort of things to implement it. So I feel NFTs, if you're looking at that, there's different risks involved, but people, aren't always aware of that. Where I've recently turned more into kind of a token maxi. Leon saying founders pay $15,000 to sponsor a conference and incur travel and accommodation costs for 3 team members, only to have 20 minutes of speaking time on a stage with 200 attendees. I have been like wildly critical of the different blockchain speaking events. I think they're grossly mispriced. I mean, I'm not looking at that from the angle of the event organizer, right? So I should humble myself and be like, okay, how much do these rental halls cost? Because there's not an insane amount of people generally attending these things. You have to charge more for the tickets. Do you have to pay for speakers? Do you have to feed the speakers? Do you have to provide accommodations for them? Yada, yada, yada. Which obviously this is saying no, right? The event organizer doesn't. They're just like, hey, come speak of these things for exposure. But again, the crowd is very minuscule, and I couldn't even tell you anything that I was at last year. So the Blockchain Futurist Conference out of Canada in Toronto, they had a group of people that came on stage to talk about the regulations around, and it was essentially a panel where each person was from a certain country, and they were representing them and basically saying, hey, come talk to me, come see this, we have like these tax benefits, yada yada yada. And it was like, okay, cool. I don't remember any of it, to be honest, because I'm like, I don't think I'm moving currently. But that's probably the only panel other than the saxophonist video that we played that was like, yeah, we'll give you shares in our company if you buy our NFT. And you're like, yeah, I don't know about that one, pal. Yet they hesitate to speak in a room of 200 live listeners on X Spaces. I don't think people are really like hesitant to that, to be honest. It's just like, not every Spaces is dedicated to a certain thing, and if you don't know individuals, and it's sometimes awkward, yada, 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 yada. Wake up, you're being outcompeted by founders who aren't fancy and are speaking on 12 Spaces a week. I don't know. Again, I think it all comes down to the amount of people that are interested in something. Do you have a product that people want? Does jumping on a whole bunch of X Spaces every week make you have more customers? I don't think so. I think it arguably reaffirms the belief of your existing community, but I don't know. What the hell do I know? There's no mention of NFTs anywhere on the VCon site. So VCon just wrapped up, if you weren't aware, and there was a lot of negative responses on that post. But Pink Beluga saying the tickets are NFTs, and they even offer a concierge service if you don't know how to buy an NFT. Definitely, there are a lot of non-NFT people attending, mostly with marketing background, but that's more than fine considering that most of the market has basically capitulated. So this is weird where they're saying it's a concierge service if you don't know how to buy an NFT, but I thought the only way to get the VCon ticket was from going out and buying one of the original VFriends NFTs, which again, at a point we're going for a crazy amount. It has come out that Gary announced that it's not the last VCon, and apparently that Series 1 is the alpha, but here is like a video of one of the lines at VCon. As an example, people used to make fun of the Bored Ape Yacht Club line in New York, eh? Well, how come nobody's making fun of any other line in NFT, huh? Anybody notice that? So there was also this video from Green Beans here who was talking with, he was getting pretty emotional with Gary, and it makes you kind of realize for a second, like, holy smokes, there's definitely a whole nother world out there where I use we as a loose term, but I found out about Gary from him joining NFTs, to be honest. I didn't know who the hell the guy was ahead of time, but apparently for everybody that's hardcore into business that needs motivation and whatnot, he's really a huge person within their life. So it's funny to see everybody that bought the NFTs are generally speaking very, very negative when it comes to anything Gary, but there's a whole swath of people out there that just absolutely love the guy. And this is another line from that. This is from Giancarlo. Will I Am was there. I guess they set up a selfie line so people could just go through, capture quick selfies with different people that were there and just rocking and rolling. Holy Aries Swan, Mr. Atari. Good morning. I have no idea how you do the 4-hour spaces, by the way. That was ridiculous. I was popping in and out for that. That was nuts. Yesterday, 2 days ago, Fortnite did a live stream at a Disney event where they made an announcement basically saying, hey, we're going to have different Marvel characters that are playable within Fortnite. Okay. Now, they delayed the stream. It was, I want to say, 10 to 15 minutes. You had some major heads of the company that were botching the speeches, that weren't really invigorating at all. Awkward ending to the whole thing. The videos of it all looked really, really awesome, but it's kind of just funny to watch and see how you can take something and it would be so powerful, but then you like just throw out a complete rookie out there to try to get the crowd hyped when nobody to be honest, nobody cares. Like, hey, you're the president of some certain thing, you're this or that. Like, okay, that's cool, but if you're not super great with public speaking, just send who the hell ever else out there, get people hyped, get it clipped, because then it just I don't know, because I thought it was like, all right, this is neat, but it goes back to the IP thing, right? Does this then drive a whole bunch of players to go and do things on Fortnite? Apparently 1 million people were watching through the Fortnite app when this presentation was going on, and it's like, damn, the whole metaverse idea, eh? Hey, Schiller, a whole metaverse idea. JPEG Master, again, we highlighted their interest in the Other Deed land plots the other day. Saw another post, thought I'd share it. Just taped another 4x Other Deeds today, bringing the total up to 69 plots. Crazy to think that this bag would have been worth over $2 million last cycle. So put that into perspective for a second. $2 million would be this guy's land claim bag. And I mean, we've seen the whole space take a downturn for sure. But my problem with this, because he adds saying, eventually I can foresee every major crypto and NFT project wanting a virtual hub for their community and other side. Okay, we've had that exact same thing with Sandbox, with Decentraland, and there has been people that have been interested in that, but there's also been a whole swath of people that haven't. One of the reasons that we saw the heights that we did early on was because there was speculation still in the market. The problem, and I'm curious kind of how we see this unfold, is that everything right now you pretty much know the value of, unless things are kept as a secret. So for the other side plots, we don't really know anything about that except for, okay, you have these play tests that they're saying they want to ramp up. So we've had like 3 in the past 2 years. Okay. But if you're not playing the Legends of the Mara game, which Faraway now owns, I don't really get what the purpose is of it other than speculating because the price is significantly lower right here. And again, there's another 100,000 of these plots going out, and I still don't really get what the extra incentive or value is. So, and then further to that, once we do know, then it completely affects, right? For every single NFT that has some sort of a token yield, generally speaking, it matches whatever kind of that yield is. If a token takes a huge crash, you see the NFT subsequently have that reaction to it, right? So as we're seeing ApeCoin is hella down, apes are hella down. For Cyberkongs, Banana Coin's hella down, Cyberkongs are hella down. You just watch and you can kind of, over time you notice these certain things here and there. Yo, what marketing? Good morning. Good morning. Nice alligator. This is your daily reminder to pay attention to the Treeverse. Gated. Open alpha should start in August, September. PC and mobile teaser rewards. For anybody that doesn't know what Treeverse is, this is the game with Loopify. They have a very, I don't know the correct way. It feels kind of like a Switch game, I guess. Like, it's got kind of this Nintendo feel to it. That might be an inaccurate description. You guys can absolutely yell at me if you think so. But again, characters walking around, all that kind of stuff. Just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of what the game looks like before we talk about it. And within this is wild to me. This is of the announcement. Early August, we will be testing the open alpha until we have a definitive launch date. The rewards for open alpha will contain N token, Super token, IMX token, and Mon token, which we looked at the Mon protocol a little bit earlier with Pixelmon, but Immutable X, Superverse, and I'm not really sure what End is, but that seems weird to me that Treeverse, that is, you know what, Endless is, I think, is like their own native token now that I think about it. But it's weird to me that like they're having an open alpha and somehow they have 4 tokens that you can earn from it. Like, I mean, I guess it's just to help support it overall. And I didn't know the Treeverse was launching on IMX, so that's actually news for me, and it's going to be on mobile and PC, which is kind of cool. So there's this post here talking about Hong Kong and the crypto ETFs having some problems. It seems like the United States ones are great, but Hong Kong's crypto ETFs are struggling to gain traction due to the market structural issues and an inherent bias against Bitcoin and Ethereum, according to Gary Teo, an executive at OSL. So this is weird to me. And there was some comments on it because I was like, I thought that, Hong Kong was super into Bitcoin, crypto, and all of that kind of stuff, but it sounds like that might not be the case with this. The market in Hong Kong is heavily reliant on intermediaries like brokers and banks, which prefer unlisted products over ETFs due to higher commissions. Ooh. Additionally, regulatory skepticism towards Bitcoin and Ethereum further hampers the growth of crypto ETFs in the region. So, again, we don't talk about politics a whole lot or anything, but it is interesting where you have political candidates in the US that are like, hey, let's jump on board the Bitcoin train. We can be the first in it, yada, 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 yada. And then you have other parts of the world that, does that rhetoric scare them at all? Or do they say, hey, like that's a challenge we need to also acquire, right? Like, do you want the people fighting over it? Do you have one that gives up the tray? I mean, there's different conversations with the entire thing. It's very interesting. You might have missed this post the other day, but this is from Fluff World for the Third Kingdom. They are working on a way to help you manage multiple prisms and surrealscapes, and they are doing something called prism clusters. No matter how many prisms you have, you can manage them all effortlessly. So if you were a mega whale within the space, well, there you go. Not going to have to worry too much. And then there was this other post that I saw from MetaBlocks that was talking about the Wilder World token airdrop. And apparently this is like $5 million worth of the token. Again, we're seeing big prizes coming out from everybody within the space. And Wilder responding to MetaBlocks because he was highlighting, a lot of these things are getting botted. So it's not actually real users. And Wilder saying 95+% of our rewards pool for the whole rewards program is going to asset holders. That solves the problem mostly. And then Aaron McDonald from Futureverse also saying, likewise, on our side with Quest, FutureScore somewhat tries to address this by making rewards relative to ownership in the ecosystem and participation in prior activities. Now, Root Network also is starting to have some extra testing on Porcini. And this is very interesting because I think this has been delayed, or maybe not delayed, but just gone a little bit slower than anticipated, because it felt like things were like ramping up, and then it was like, oh, okay, hold on a second. And it's looking like Alex's prediction for the Third Kingdom being out a little bit longer than what Aaron had might be the case, but still, we'll wait and see what August has to bring. But from the aspects of the fact that ASM needs to be integrated, Silo needs to get integrated on this, because they specifically say within the upgrade that there's protocols that are now getting on board. And for anyone that's staking Silo, I noticed that this past week's rewards seemed like they were cut in half. I saw a Floating Coconut post in the Discord earlier that like the APY or whatever was like 28%, and this week it looked like it was down to 17%. And I don't know if that's because of the amount that's getting staked, because there is a ton that has been added to the staking pool for that, which is like a very significant portion of the circulating supply. Or is it like bootstrap rewards are affected by it? What's exactly the ordeal? Anywho, this is Star Atlas. We've highlighted it here and there. Again, one of the flagship games coming out of Solana. Think of the whole metaverse Star Wars. You have hangars, your entirely own ship. You want something that's kind of small. Behind this ship a second ago, you could see there was a monster behind it. How this looks, it looks high quality, high fidelity. It's really, really cool to see that these things are starting to pop up across the timeline. Absolutely love to see them. Now, final news of the day, I'm going to leave you with Moai Finance saying that Tradeverse is launching a token and they're working together for it. If you don't know, there is a lot of NFT marketplaces that are out there, from the likes of X2Y to Blur, that have a token. I should clarify. X2Y2 Blur, Looks Rare, Magic Eden, that is having kind of their Diamond Rewards program. But a lot of these marketplaces have tokens that are associated with them. And I think one, this helps with VC talks, because if you weren't on the banter bunker with Atari last night, which I don't know why you don't record those. I get why you don't, but you'd be surprised how many people listen to VODs. I'm definitely a person that listens to the replays of a lot of things. But the Shen talked about how they were going to like Japan, Hong Kong. He's in Thailand right now and was discussing VC meetings and whatnot. And so if you have a token versus not having a token, and if you're like a Web3 product, I think that makes a huge ordeal and big difference for what people are wanting to get into. So very interested in seeing how Moai again connects with XRP to bring more attention. And now they're helping with Tradeverse. There was also a mention regarding Catalyze Research Shen had, that both Moai and Tradeverse were close with Catalyze Research, which of course is working closely with Root, Futureverse, et cetera, et cetera. So anywho, that's it for this edition of XFeed. I hope you guys found this somewhat valuable. It's about 1 p.m. where I am. So good day to you.